It was 1961 when I joined my service in a coal mining company named NCDC. One Sunday, in June 1961, a man came to our quarter and introduced himself to me as an Ananda Margi. The first meeting with Baba flashed into my mind, but I preferred to listen to the visitor. He was Acharya Brahmadeoji. After an hour of talk, he gave me 2 magazines saying that he would come again next Sunday, and as promised he came. He told some more things about Ananda Marga and replaced the old journals with new ones. He became my regular Sunday visitor. Acharya Brahmadeoji noticed my interest, and he started talking about Baba and other aspects of sadhana. After 3 months he told me about Acharya Vishvamohanji. He said, "There is a very saintly Acharya of Ananda Marga who is an engineer working here. Would you like to see him? If you like, I can bring him here." "Certainly," I replied. "I would like to see him, but it was not proper to bring him here. Rather, I would visit him as he is my senior," I added. I requested Acharya Brahmadeoji to find out the time and place so that he could take me to a place where I will meet Acharya Vishvamohanji. And so, he fixed the appointment and took me to Acharya Vishvamohanji the following Sunday afternoon. When I arrived at the place, I greeted Acharya Vishvamohanji and he asked me to sit near him on the floor. I sensed in him something very special. He looked very calm, serious and in a state of spiritual ecstasy. After few minutes, he asked my name, when did I join the work in the mining company and in which section I was working. Then he added, "You go now. Someone is waiting for you in your quarters. He is a new person. Your quarters are locked. If he has to wait for too long he may feel inconvenient as you had arranged to meet him but you're here. Come again sometimes later, but you must give me a call before you come." When I reached my quarters, I really found the person was waiting in the veranda. This incident made me curious to know more about Acharya Vishvamohanji and Ananda Marga. I made an appointment to meet him the following Sunday. When I met him the second time, I asked him, "How did you know that somebody was waiting for me last week?" He just smiled and said, "If you want to know, you have to learn meditation and do it very sincerely and strictly." After that, he explained to me what Ananda Marga meant and what it does for the society. After 1 hour he told me to leave and come again next time. I then became a regular visitor of Acharya Ji. Sometimes he would discuss Ananda Marga philosophy and sometimes he would tell me about his experience with Guru Baba. Sometimes I would ask how to learn meditation. He would say, "Wait, your time will come." Sometimes he would ask whether I was ready to learn meditation. I used to avoid it because my mind was not ready to leave the dogmas and superstitions imposed on me from my childhood, such as caste complex, wearing sacred thread and keeping a tuft of hair on the head among others. That was why, though I was regularly visiting him for almost a year, I was not given an initiation. The 22nd of February 1962 finally came and Baba graced me by receiving an initiation through the medium of Acharya Vishvamohanji. It was Saturday and thus, not a working day for me. He initiated me at 2 p.m. and made me do sadhana for 1 hour. He asked me to come and do sadhana with him every day after working hours and I followed him very strictly. Since then, I gradually became regular in my meditation and would also go to the nearby forest to do meditation together with some other sadhakas. I was initiated on the 22nd of February 1962. I became very strict in sadhana. Almost every day, I would do sadhana with my Acharya Ji. After 1.5 months, my Acharya Ji asked me, "Would you like to have Guru Darshan and personal contact with the Guru?" I did not understand what personal contact was, so I asked Acharya Ji, "What is personal contact?" He said, "In personal contact, only you and Baba will be in the room and nobody else. He can talk to you and you can talk to him," and so I agreed to go for personal contact. But there is a condition if you're going to have Guru Darshan. You must attend the 1-week Tatvaka class conducted in Jamalpur Jagriti from April 14 to 21. Classes will be given by Baba himself, and Acharya Dasarathaji, who is a great sadhaka and devotee of Baba," he added. "I thought it was once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I applied for a 10 days leave from my work. I traveled and reached Jamalpur Jagriti on the 13th of April 1962. My Acharya Ji had given me a recommendation letter for personal contact with Baba and for attending the Tatvika classes. I met the then personal assistant to Baba, Acarya Cidananda Avadhuta, and handed the letter to him. He said, 'Please be comfortable. I will ask Baba in the evening and I will tell you when you will get a chance to have personal contact.' In the evening, he told me that Baba was kind enough to give me a chance to have personal contact the next day. The next day most probably was a holy day. Baba came to the Jagriti. Personal assistant Acharya Cidananda Avadhuta received Baba and together entered Baba's room. Baba asked Dada Cidananda what was the work to be done on that day. Dada Cidananda told Baba that there were 4 candidates for personal contact. Baba asked him for the name list and told to send us one by one. My name was 3rd in the list. When I entered Baba's room, I saw Shiva sitting on the cot instead of Baba, just as I had seen him in so many pictures, white complexion with a snake around his neck and a trishul in his hand. I did Sastang Pranam as I was earlier instructed. When I got up, I did not see Shiva anymore. I only saw Baba, who was sitting on the cot. Baba asked my name and the name of my Acharya Ji. Then he told me to look back at the wall. On the wall, I first saw a child sleeping on the bed, inside a mud-built house on an afternoon. There was a big snake taking rest on the side of the child. Then a lady came at the door and was terrified when she saw the snake sleeping with her child. She started to pray wholeheartedly with folded hands. After a few moments the snake went away. She went to the child and confirmed that the snake did not hurt the child. In the second scene, I saw a boy who was walking through thick woods covered with big trees. The boy was uttering Om Namah Shivaya mantra, and Shiva was with the boy until he crossed the road and reached the field. Then Baba asked me to look towards him and said, "You were born by the grace of Lord Shiva, and so it became my duty to protect you." After that he turned to me with stern look and asked me why I did such thing at such place as such. I had no reply. Then Baba asked, "Do you deserve punishment?" I said, "Yes, Baba." He took his stick and looked like he would beat me severely. But after hitting me very lightly with the stick he said, "You know that I see everything. Promise me that you will be a Dharmika and will always protect Dharma." And he asked me to touch his feet and made me to promise to be righteous and do righteous things. Then he told me to come closer to him and patted my cheeks as he had done when I first met him in the railway platform. Tears started rolling down my cheeks continuously. He told me, "Don't worry, I'm always with you. You go now, someone is still waiting." I did not want to leave Baba's room, but I had to go out with tears still streaming down my face. Then, I sat down for sadhana until everyone was gone. What followed was a series of classes conducted by Baba and Dada Dasarathji. I attended them all. During the 1-week classes, most of the time I was looking at Baba. He looked very charming, giving me an intense desire to embrace him. But how could I do that? There were many people in the class. During the daily sessions, I was all the time very emotional. It was very difficult to control myself. My bed was near the door and Baba would put his holy feet on my bed before leaving the room at the end of the class. I always calmed down every time Baba did this to my bed. There was an examination at the end of the training. I was very afraid because none of the philosophy lesson went into my head during the class. I was only staring at Baba, enjoying his divine presence and charm. However, everyone had to appear on the day of the examination. None was spared. There was a verbal examination given by Baba himself. On that day Baba was sitting on his cot in his majestic style and all examinees were sitting on the floor in front of him. He started to question the trainees one by one. When my turn came, I stood up. He asked few questions which were not understandable to me, and I looked at him. Baba asked, "Why are you looking at me? Will I answer the questions that I am asking you?" Instead of answering, I only continued staring at him. Then Baba said, "You dull boy. Sit down." The next round came and it was my turn again. I stood up and Baba asked, "Do you know Yama and Niyama?" And I explained Yama and Niyama. After the end of the second round, Baba commented, "These boys are not up to the mark, but they're good boys. I have to give them a grace mark, and they are all declared passed." So, we all did Sastang Pranam and left his room. After my personal contact with Baba and the Tapaka class, I was infused with full speed, energy and motivation to remove exploitation from society. I went to my work in Raibachara, where a coal mine was newly started. It was a small area in the midst of the jungle. Few days after my arrival, a Margi asked me, "Did you hear that a Yaksini Siddha Pandit from Nepal is here? He's charging 4 rupees per person to tell about their past and future." Fully aware of how Yaksinas can manipulate the minds of the poor and illiterates, particularly in remote villages, I was alarmed. I told the Margi to find out how I could meet this Yaksini Pandit. The Margi gathered all the necessary information and we made a plan how to meet this Pandit and chase him away from our area. It was about 11 p.m. the following night. Together with 4 young Margis, we went to the place where the Pandit was staying. We found him. After greeting him, I asked, "Panditji, do you have Yaksini Siddhi?" He replied proudly, "Yes. What do you want? You can give me 4 rupees and I will tell your hidden secrets. I will reveal your past and future with the help of Yaksini." I reprimanded him by asking, "But what about your future? Why don't you use your Yaksini to find out your own future?" He was stunned. "You're exploiting the poor and illiterate people of this village, as well as the mining laborers in our area. You have to leave this place before sunrise, otherwise you will face all the consequences," I added. As Pandits are generally timid, he replied, "Okay Baba, I will leave this place before sunrise tomorrow. Don't hurt me." He left the place before sunrise. However, the man who brought the Pandit in the village was a member of our staff. He was also engaged in exploiting people in the area by lending money with more than double interest rate. He got very furious upon knowing the news that his guest, the Pandit, had left the village upon my order. With anger he said, "Do Ananda Margas have such courage to chase away my guest? I am sending a message to these Ananda Margas. They should be ready for fight." Anticipating that the escalation could result to a physical fight, I gathered my 50 laborers and asked him to be ready always, and that, whenever they received my instruction, they should come immediately and stand up to fight. I also sent this information to the moneylender who had invited that Pandit. This news spread in a matter of minutes all over our establishment. My superior sent me a message with the instruction to meet him immediately. I went to see him accordingly. He told me about what he heard and asked me not to land in trouble. I told him, "I will not initiate any trouble from my side, but if somebody would start the trouble and challenge me, then I would be prepared for that and face it boldly. Of course, an immoral person like the moneylender has no guts to fight." He backed down. The following week, I went to Jamalpur to see Baba. Baba had already asked his personal assistant to include me to go for the field walk with him. When I was walking with him, he asked me, "I heard that the Ananda Margas of your unit drove away an exploiter Pandit." Very good. Baba asked me to give the details and I narrated the whole story. He looked very happy. After my personal contact, I became very strict in sadhana. Every day after office hours, together with a few sadhakas, I would go to perform evening sadhana in the dense forests and secluded open fields. It was a moonlit evening. We did 1.5 hour sadhana sitting at least 100 meters apart from each other in a very secluded and dense forest. After finishing my sadhana, I did Guru Puja, and when I got up from Sastang Pranam, I saw Baba physically present there. Then I did Sastang Pranam again, but when I got up, Baba disappeared. When I regrouped with other sadhakas, I asked my Acharya Ji if Baba could be present in the area physically. He did not reply, as if he did not hear my question. His silence increased my curiosity to know the truth. Was it hallucination in my mind, or was Baba really physically present in the place where I saw him? It was Thursday evening, and I was getting impatient to know the truth. I attended my office the next day, Friday. Then I boarded the evening train to Jamalpur and reached there the next morning. I met the personal assistant Dadaji in the Jagriti. He said that Baba had already told him about my coming, and I could go for the evening field walk with him. The time came and I accompanied Baba in his evening field walk. While walking, it came to my mind many times that I must ask Baba. But every time I had a chance, shyness and hesitation dominated me. While we were entering the field where Baba used to sit on the tiger's grave, he stopped walking. He turned to me and asked, "Do you have any question?" Then I got courage to narrate what happened on Thursday evening and asked him, could it be possible? With his majestic smile, Baba nodded his head in affirmation and said, "Yes, it is possible." I was fully satisfied and continued the evening field walk with him. If you like this story, please subscribe to the Workers channel. Please like and share this video. In this way, you can help the channel grow. Thank you.